and Taro, Witch of the Black Rose, on October 31st on Halloween at 11:35 p.m. The town of Salem was once famous for condemning witches, but now it burns at the hands of Raven Hex as her and her vile machinations lay waste to the town. As her pumpkin skeletal men ravage the city with razor-sharp claws, all is not lost as Taro, Witch of the Black Rose, and John, the Skeleton Man, have arrived to combat Raven Hex. Now, as Taro confronts Raven Hex, she informs her that she's given mankind another tangible reason to fear witches once again. Now, Raven Hex warns Taro to stay out of it, but Taro has other plans. Now, Raven flies off into the distance as she beckons Taro. She points out a building that's a tourist attraction that seemingly makes light of the suffering of witches. As Raven Hex destroys the building with a massive fireball, fire and brimstone start raining down on the civilians as the building starts to collapse. But before the civilians can be crushed, Taro uses her magical abilities to erect a thin barrier of light around the people. Meanwhile, at Gallow Hills, the pumpkin skeletal men are preparing the ritual site at the behest of Raven Hex. But the pumpkin skeletal men are confronted by John, who warns them to surrender before he has to beat their face in. Now the pumpkin skeletal men decide to take the hard way out, so John charges and leaps over one and kicks the other in the face. He would then bash the other pumpkin's face in as he rips off his toxic tendrils. Now John runs off to collect the coffin of Sally and Susan, which happens to be the body of the two-headed ghost girl Raven Hex needs to complete the ritual. But as John is confronted by Raven Hex, Raven smacks him against a stone pillar and incapacitates him. Raven then stands in a magical circle as she raises the corpse of Sally and Susan above her head. She silently speaks words of necromagic that have been locked away for centuries. As Raven conducts the ritual, the moon itself transforms in the heavens. Her magic cuts a hole into the thin veil of the spirit world. Slowly but surely, the man that seemingly used to be her father starts to rise from the abyss. But Raven would then be confronted by Brandy, a ghost girl she partnered up with in order to get all the items she needed for the ritual. Now, Raven promised to restore Brandy's body, but she changed her mind as she calls her an insolent ghost and tells her to move along. But Brandy slaps the shit out of Raven and incapacitates her. Now, as Raven's on the floor unconscious, Brandy steals secret pages from her spell book as she calls her a witch bitch and warns her not to cross her ever again. Now, as Raven Hex comes to, she's pissed off, but no matter, as she has more important things to attend to. As Raven Hex embraces the man that seemingly used to be her father, Raven's mother would arrive and warn her to let go as she didn't succeed in resurrecting her father, she only resurrected his anger. Now at first, Raven Hex thinks they're both just jealous, but as moans and groans echo through the night, a myriad of fangs start to line the man's body like gaping sores. As the man transforms, he now lashes out with tendrils and bone spikes. Now as John comes to, he sees how dire the situation has gotten. The skeleton man stills himself as he summons spirits of Gallow Hill to help drive off the threat. Now as Taro pulls her sword to cut a path through the tendrils, she tells Raven she's the only one that can undo the spell. But as Raven fights for her life, she tells her sister she cannot, as she only read about raising the dead, not banishing them. But as Raven Hex is violently knocked out by the creature, her mother would use fairy magic and send several magical fairies to try to stun and incapacitate the creature. But as the creature lashes out at Raven's unconscious body, there's no time for magic, only sacrifice, as Raven's mother leaps in front of the man's claw. As Raven and Taro's mother goes down, what happened next would be talked about in witches' circles for generations to come. Overwhelmed by emotion, the two sisters reach deep inside themselves and focus and channel all their energy. They release such magic that's so pure and intense that some believe it was the goddess herself in one of her many forms. As the witches strike out, in an incredible magical explosion of light, the creature is no more. But there's no time for celebration as Taro and Raven quickly head to the side of their mother that's still laying on the floor, having been hurt very badly by the creature. Now, John the Skeleton Man can see the dead, and he can also see that her mother has not passed over. But as Raven mourns, the skeletons of the graveyard grab her and threaten to kill her, seeing as this is all Raven's fault. They tell Raven that her ways cause pain and fear, and they warn her that if she ever does such things again, they will be there to kill her. John secures the coffin of Sally and Susan, while Raven and Taro secure the body of their mother. Now, as Raven's magic subsided, all the nightmarish creatures that ravaged the town began to dissolve and crumble. In the following days, the people will remember the destruction of the town, but not the monsters, such as the ways of magic on the mind. Meanwhile, John gets to return to the cemetery as he retrieved the body of Sally and Susan. While even though Ghost Girl Brandy stole the scroll of forbidden magic, she's still distraught as she's unable to decipher it. Now in the witch's hollow mansion, the forbidden book of magic once again rests in the archives where it never should have left. Taro and Raven stand at their mother's side as they nurse their mother back to health. Their mother apologizes to Raven for banishing her, and she offers her a place back amongst the witches of the Black Rose. But Raven refuses because Raven now has new beliefs, and Raven truly believes with all of her heart that mankind should be subservient to all of the witches that roam this earth. The end. Thank you for watching.